Thank you very much, Madam President. I rise in support of SB 69, but I do so only because it's the prudent action to take at this moment in time, because we must act with immediacy. Our focus should be on executing a budget plan that's both responsible and balanced, so we can get back to the business of rebuilding California and getting this economy moving again. But before we do that, we have a historic decision to make, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's Saturday, Sunday, or sometime next week. The decision or the issue before each and every one of us today is whether the citizens of our own distinctive communities throughout the state of California will have the right to determine the fate of their own future. And it is stunning to me, that the question of letting the people vote is even a question on the table today. In recent weeks, we've all witnessed, collectively, men, women, and young children who are risking their lives in several Middle East countries for the right of self-determination. Libya, Egypt, Tunisia, Yemen. These men and women, like you and I, want the same things in life: the right to self-determination and the right to democracy. But as we contemplate making very painful and difficult decisions that what undoubtedly will harm the most vulnerable citizens, we're stuck and we're mired in budget partisanship. That may deny the citizens, Republicans, Democrats, decline the states, and otherwise, the right to exercise their voice and determine their own fate and future. The founders of this nation built a nation based on the democratic principles that have served as a beacon of hope and inspiration for other nations across the world for the last 2.5 centuries. These very same guiding principles, these democratic principles, have guaranteed a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. They have bestowed on each and every one of us, elected officials, non-elected officials, in this nation, in this state, under this dome, the unalienable right to make our own decisions and not have tyrants or a small minority decide the fate for them. We collectively, Republicans, Democrats, and otherwise, should respect our founding fathers and make sure that each and every individual has that right to make the decisions for themselves. We owe it to all Californians. Now, our budget chair has articulated quite eloquently $12.5 billion in cuts. These are real, genuine, and these are very painful cuts. We have here, which for me is very, very difficult and painful to read, even incomprehensible, because I'm very angry. I'm very angry at the fact that the decisions we make today are going to hurt children. They're going to hurt the most vulnerable, the elderly, the disabled. They're going to hurt single mothers. $150 million in cuts to developmentally disabled persons in California. What does that mean specifically for me? For Mrs. Garcia in Boyle Heights, in my community, that means that this woman who's a senior citizen won't receive the slightest respite. So she can leave her own house, where today she feels trapped like a prisoner, just to run a simple errand. What it means for Marta Velázquez, who also lives in Boyle Heights, who has a son who's paraplegic, who is a legal permanent resident, as she is a United States citizen, naturalized citizen. That means the cut in the provider rate for her means she won't have enough to take care of a son who's being fed through a G2. Now, I visited her personally. These are real cuts. These are not, as was utilized the word, phony cuts. These are real lives. These are real human beings. And my greatest fear is that this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. I believe it was yesterday that our budget chair articulated that if you factor in inflation with population growth, our budget should be roughly at $117.5 billion. It is roughly about $35 billion less. $35 billion less. So since 2007, we have actually been making very dramatic and real cuts that have affected the lives of everyday individuals, Democrats, Republicans, and otherwise. So let's not fool ourselves with regard to the severity of the draconian cuts that are about to ensue quite shortly. I'm interested, just like everyone else, to do everything possible to stimulate our economy and create jobs. But what's at stake here is something that, in my mind, is deadly serious. As we move forward with this argument and debate, now, I have a lot of respect for my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. I've served with a handful of you on the Assembly side, and at a very personal level, I have nothing but deep respect. We have some very serious decisions to make, but I deeply fear that this is only the beginning for us as a collective body unless we come to some resolution. And what I would say is we have to let the people vote. We owe it to them. We owe it to every individual. We have to respect the founding principles of this great democracy. Madam President, again, I just want to reiterate my support, as difficult as it is, for SB 69. Thank you very much.
Thank you.